Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the pretty village of South Cadbury in Somerset. It's located just off the A303, about 5 miles northeast of Yeovil and 5 miles west of Wincanton. And we're going to be walking a roughly 6.5 mile circular route, starting at South Cadbury, then exploring the Cadbury Castle fort before heading south to Whitcombe, where I believe there's a site of a medieval village. And then we'll head past the beacon to outskirts of Corton Denham, and then head north along the Monarch's Way over Parrock Hill and onto Sutton Montis before our final section back to South Cadbury. Now I'm filming at the end of June. It looks like it's going to be a really glorious day. The sun's out, fair bit of blue sky. There was quite a bit of mist this morning, but that seems to be lifting. Should be perfect conditions for a walk. Do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car at a little free car park to the south of South Cadbury. Let's have a little wander through the village. Well, the best place to begin the walk is by the pub, the Camelot pub. And I'm not sure how old it actually is. It appears as the Red Lion on the 1903 map and then was renamed the Camelot in 2004. But as you can see, it's currently being refurbished. Not open at the moment. It will be opening soon, but unfortunately not today. And I believe that building there is the old school. It's certainly called a schoolhouse. And just on from the school, virtually opposite the church, is this marvellous building, South Cadbury House, which I believe was the old rectory, and it dates to the 18th century. Well, this pretty little church is the Church of St Thomas of Becket, and it dates back to the 13th century, although a fair bit of it was built in the 15th century. There were big restorations in the 1850s and again in 1874, and it consists of a nave, chancel, a south aisle, a porch, a southeast vestry and a west tower, and I think it's got 6 bells. Well, sadly the church is locked, so we can't go inside, but there are a few interesting things to look at outside. Just on the wall here, the sort of southeast edge of the nave, there's what looks like an old mass dial. Well, the name South Cadbury possibly derives from the name, Cadder's Fort. Bury means fortification, and Cadder or Caddo was king of Dumnonia in the 6th century, although I believe historical records are a bit iffy about that. And there is a little settlement called North Cadbury to the north of the A303. Okay, well, let's check out the fort. Well, the Cadbury Castle is literally just to the south of the village, and this is the footpath we need, pedestrian access to Cadbury Castle. Now, very close to the entrance on the side of the Hillfort is a well. It's called King Arthur's Well. I wonder what sort of mysteries that holds. Well, this, folks, is the Cadbury Castle Hillfort. Not to be confused with the Cadbury Castle Hillfort near Bickley in Devon. And there's been evidence of Neolithic settlement here, and indeed in the Bronze Age. A significant part of it was built during the Iron Age, and it was reused by the Romans, and again between 470 AD and 580 AD, but it was probably very little used after the 7th century. And it's an oval shape covering 7.3 hectares. Basically, I think There are 4 ramparts in total on the northern, western and southern sides, but just 2 ramparts on the eastern side, as well as an inner bank. I'll put up a map. The original entrance was probably to the southwest side, but the modern entrance is on the northeast side. And it's very tricky for archaeologists to be 100% accurate about everything here, because bits have been added and there have been alterations made over the centuries, and in more recent times part of the land has been ploughed over. As I'm standing on top of the Cadbury Castle Hillfort, I need to tell you about a legend, because this is one of the possible locations of Camelot, the capital and court of King Arthur, where his round table would have been set and where the knights of the round table would have met. And of course you've got the river Cam, which is to the north of here, and lot means parcel of land. But I say there are quite a few other possible locations. There's a Camelot, I think, at Caerleon in Monmouthshire in Wales. There's a Queen Camel at Somerset. There's Camelford in Cornwall. I think there's a Camelot in Winchester. The list goes on. Anyway, let's have a little wander round the top. We're now at the centre of the fort, right on the top of a hill, and the views from here are extraordinary, real 360-degree stuff. And apparently on a very clear day you can see a Glastonbury tour. I say the mist has just about cleared, and it really is quite stunning. Now, apparently there is another ancient well on the sort of northern side of the fort. It's called the Queen Anne's Wishing Well, first recorded in 1726, and I think it's a brick trough. And it's located, I say, at the base of the 3rd rampart on the northern side. Now, I would normally go and explore and see if I could find it, but it's already a very warm day and we're quite exposed up here, and although I've got plenty of water for myself and Logan, we could do with finding a little bit of shade, so I think we'll kick on. We've just come off Cadbury Castle, come through a lovely little shaded track to get here back at South Cadbury, and here we now join a little road heading southwards before looking out for a footpath that will take us back into the countryside. And I think we're on a little section of the MacMillan Way, which is that 290-mile long-distance path that goes from Boston in Lincolnshire all the way to Abbotsbury in Dorset. And it was created to develop the awareness of Macmillan cancer relief. Oh, incredible. I've bumped into yet another viewer of the channel. Seems to happen almost on every walk at the moment. But it's lovely. A chap called Ray. Of course, Ray is now the proud owner of a limited edition Dave's Countryside Walks badge. It was lovely to meet you, Ray. Haha, this is the footpath sign I was looking for, just past Whitcombe Farm. So we come off here and continue heading southwards. Well, excellent opportunity for a dog dip and get some fresh water. Perfect on a warm day, and oh look, he's going he's going in deep today, right up to chest height. I think he's enjoying that. He says, yeah, I'll stay here, Dad, and I'll catch you up later. Well, the year really is flying by now. The crops in the fields here are really beginning to grow. Now that hill in the far distance, I think that's Parrock Hill, which we climb on the way back. Might be wrong. Well, I tell you folks, this is one of these walks where I think we'll be stopping fairly often just to take in some views. So this is looking back to the north, Cadbury Castle, top there, and then this is this field that we've made our way through. So the landscape round here is quite spectacular. Now, somewhere around here, which is why I'm vaguely pointing the camera out in this direction, there may have been a medieval village called Whitcombe, but it only shows on a modern ordnance survey map, and I can't find anything about it. I mean, there is a deserted medieval village of Whitcombe, which is south of Dorchester, that I've come across, and also I believe there's a Whitcombe with no H near Montacute in Somerset, but oh well, it's on a modern map, so I'll just say it's out here somewhere, or was out here somewhere. Well, this is an important part of the route for those folk that might be doing the walk after watching the video. We've been sort of heading directly south. There's the Cadbury Castle in the far distance, and at this point we now start heading sort of southwest down a little track that's going to take us through Whitcombe Farm. We're just coming through Whitcombe Farm, and goodness me, look at the size of that. Well, presumably it must be a water wheel. It's massive. Oh, what a beautiful cottage with the roses climbing up the wall. And I love the wooden door. It's quite exquisite. Well, another little update of the route. We're just going to pass by Beacon Hill on our way to the next little village of Corton Denham. A few clouds beginning to appear, which, to be honest, I'm very grateful of, because it's just given us a little bit of respite from the sun. There's a lot of heat in it today. So I say we continue along, so the bottom of Beacon Hill. There is a trig point right at the top, but you don't really want us to go all the way up there to bag that for the video, do you? Do you? Oh, all right then. Well, there you go, we've made it to the top, and there is a trig point here, and of course, as is customary, that has been bagged in the normal fashion. Was it worth all the effort to get to the top of here? Oh, you bet. The views. Well, we've got to have another 360-degree bit of footage, I think, don't you? This is a great spot to show you where we've been. So there's the Cadbury Castle Hillfort, and then basically the footpath that we followed along the sort of bottom of that ridge, past where there may or may not have been a medieval village, and then there's Whitcombe Farm down below. And so we're going to carry on heading southwards. Now it's 10 to 12. Now we know the pub in South Cadbury is closed, but according to my map there is a pub in Courton Denham. So no, I haven't done any research. I don't know if it's open on Tuesdays. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Well, we've now made it to the little village of Courton Denham. I won't go into any great detail about it because we'll be visiting it on another walk later on in the year, so we'll have a good exploration there. And we're only actually going through the top end of it on our walk. Having said that, there is one building that I'd like to have a look at. And this is the building I wanted to see, the Queen's Arms. And I'm delighted to say it's open. So well, we can pop in purely for research purposes for the video, of course. Well, here we are in the pub garden, and I tell you what, this pint of otter has come just at the right time. Oh, lovely. And for his lordship, not pipers today, I'm afraid, it's Tyrrells. Yep, just about managed that. Oh, now we could be here for a wee while. Well, it's sort of dog dip material. We've come across this quite enchanting little trough, or large, yeah, I'll call it a trough, fed by a stream. Well, he's sort of got his paws wet. Well, I certainly feel fortified by that pint. Now, Courton Denham's a gorgeous little village, but so we'll get to explore it in greater detail when we visit here again. The church looks quite delightful. So we're now going to head westwards along something called Ridge Lane. It's a lane that will eventually become a track, and then we will pick up a section of the Monarch's Way. And this is where we join the Monarch's Way and start heading northwards. Of course, the Monarch's Way, 625-mile long distance path that represents the escape route of King Charles II after his defeat at the Battle of Worcester in 1651. Of course, it goes from Worcester to Bristol to Yeovil to Shoreham. But look at these views, looking over to the, well, as I pan round, this is looking over to the west. Quite sort of a flat area of Somerset, but beautiful nonetheless. Well, yet another pit stop to take in the view. So this is Parrock Hill, just on my right here, and there's obviously Cadbury Castle, the fort in the very far distance, and then just panning round there's the little hamlet of, or village of Sutton Montis in the valley below. Well, we've made our way off Parrock Hill and heading towards Sutton Montis, still on the Monarch's Way at the moment. Now, I want to say, when I left home this morning, I had a quick look at the YouTube channel on the computer and was amazed to see that, well, the Dave's Countryside Walks channel has just passed 6,000 subscribers, which is amazing. A big thank you to everybody who's subscribed, and of course everybody who's viewed and made comments. It really is quite humble to think so many people are interested in watching a bumbling old fool and his Whippet walking across the countryside. But thank you anyway. Well, our next stop-off point is a little settlement of Sutton Montis. Beautiful little place with some delightful cottages. It's recorded in the Domesday Book as Suttona. Sutton derives from the Anglo-Saxon sud, which means south, and ton, town. The Montis bit may be from a family name, probably Montague or Montacute. I'm not 100% sure, but it does have a lovely little church. The Church of Holy Trinity, and it has Saxon origins. And most of the surviving building dates from the 12th century and subsequent periods. There was a big restoration in 1862, and it consists of a nave, chancel, a west tower and a northwest vestry. And I think it's got 3 bells. That's interesting. Just outside on the central buttress of the chancel looks like the remains of a sundial. I can certainly see some numbers scratched there and a dial. Well, I'm pleased to say this church is open, so let's have a little peep inside. It's lovely and cool in here. So there's the font, which I believe dates to the 15th century. And there the sallies, yep, 1, 2, 3 bells. And a stained glass window at the tower end, and then coming through the nave we've got the pulpit on the left, which I believe dates to the 17th century, and then a terrific arch going into the chancel. That looks quite Norman, doesn't it? And then into the chancel itself, a beautiful stained glass window above the altar. And I love the blue sort of circles at the top, and then just over onto the left is the organ. Well, I've now left Sutton Montis and heading north on the final leg and just crossing over the Henschel Brook. Yet another opportunity for a dog dip to cool down on what has been quite a warm day, but Logan's done very well. Is it nice in there, fella? He says, yeah, just what I needed. I don't think you can get any deeper than that. Come on then, up you come. Good boy. Well, we're very much on the homeward leg now. I'm following a little track that basically goes from Sutton Montis back to South Cadbury. We've got Cadbury Castle up to my left, so we're going to be on the sort of northern side of the castle. And we're actually joined a stretch of something called the Leland Way, which I'd never heard of before. It follows the route of John Leland, I think that's how you pronounce his name, during his 16th century survey of Britain. It starts at King Alfred's Tower, north of Stoughton, which we've been to over to the west, and ends at the Ham Hill Country Park near Yeovil. Anyway, it's just a case of following this track back to the car and the end of the walk. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We thought we'd do the end scene by King Arthur's Well by the side of the Cadbury Castle Hillfort. We hope you enjoyed the walk today. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio. Good boy.